Welcome to the basics of music theory. This is kind of a supporting video for the paid content. In this video, I want to give you a quick overview about the most basic elements of music theory, which are intervals, chords, and scales. Those things are actually not too hard to understand. What you will learn in this course is how to write intervals, chords, and chord progressions ultimately. But to do that, you first need to understand the fundamentals, obviously. I wrote a little chord progression here. We can have a quick listen to it so that you can get basically an idea of where we are going. This is built up on a very, very simple melody. Okay, so this, if you look at it, if this looks intimidating to you, then this is probably a good course for you. This is actually way less complicated than it looks. So let's start with the most basic thing in music theory, and that is an interval. An interval is simply two notes, a root and a second note. That's called an interval, and there are many, many different intervals, and they determine basically the feeling of the song that we are writing. So, for example, you have your root note. I'm gonna actually show you here so that you can see it. You can see I'm pressing C as the root note. And then if we go from C, like on a Monopoly board, 1, 2, 3, we arrive at the minor third. Minor third is a pretty important interval. I mean, all of them are, but this one tells you a lot about the music that you are working on. If you are analyzing any kind of intervals or even chords, you always have a look at the third. Is it a major third? Or is it a minor third? Because that will determine the gender. So is it rather sad or is it rather heroic or happy? And let's have a listen to that. That's a rather sad interval or a minor interval. And now let's have a listen to the major third, which is 4 semitones up. So from C, we go up like on a Monopoly board, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we arrive at the major third. It sounds completely different. And then let's have a listen on the fifth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in combination with the third. So let's have 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. That's already a melody in this case. And a very simple one, but it is a melody. Okay. Of course, every 2 notes is an interval. So this is an interval. This is an interval. This is called a second. Basically 2 semitones. If you would go to C sharp from C, that's called a small second. All of them have names, but that is actually less important than to, memorize the intervals. And the way I do that is by using numbers. And I'm doing that since the very, very beginning. Even before I knew anything about music theory, I was using numbers to memorize melodies. So you have your C. There's a very easy way how to find the intervals that are just around C. So, of course, 1 is the small second, we know that, and 3 is the minor third, and 5 is the fifth, and so forth. But in the opposite direction, there's also a quick way to at least memorize 2 of the intervals. If you go 2 steps back, and then again 2 to A. Unfortunately, my A is a little bit dirty and it doesn't work again. Okay, so -2 and -4 will also land you on minor intervals. Let's go over to scales right now. Scales are basically sets of notes that you can use to build your track. And if you think about it, it's like the notes are your how to say, when you're building a house, you have different ingredients, so to say. So the notes are the ingredients, and then the intervals are maybe the walls, and if you build chords, then you have like a multi-story building or something like that. But scales are actually quite easy to explain with